So today's topic comes from something that came up while I was watching All Queens Men. And if you haven't seen All Queens Men yet, it's on BET Plus. Season 2 is out now, so you got time to catch up. But it's starring Eva Marcel, and it's based off a book by Christian Keys, and he even in there too, looking good. Eye candy everywhere, maybe too much eye candy if you single, so beware of that. But it's about a madam played by Eva that runs an all-male strip club. And not only does she run the strip club, she a badass woman just throughout the whole city, wreaking havoc just everywhere. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Although after season 2, it's season 2, you got time to catch up. It's on BET Plus right now. But there is a character in there, spoiler alert, her name is Miss Patty. And Miss Patty seems to be smart, successful, and just a little bit insecure. And what I noticed about her character was she had got to a point where she she allowed herself to fall in love with one of the dancers. Red flag number 1. So in falling in love with him, she felt the need to purchase his downtime or his time away from work. So she had bought him a car, she got him a place to live, like she was his sugar mama. And everybody knows that there has to be some exchanging of services. And what happened with Miss Patty was she ended up falling in love. And it no longer to her looked like a business transaction. It looked like they were actually in a relationship. And that is the way that in her mind she made it to be. And the damaged little girl parts in her came out. She started to be possessive. She started to not be herself. Like I said, she's smart businesswoman. She's an attorney, successful. It gets to a point where Madam even blackmails her at one time. And so now she's jeopardizing her career and her future and her freedom and so many different things, all because she got caught up in this relationship that she created that was a business deal. It was transactional. So to him, she was just another one of his clients, and she became his sugar mama. Let me say, by the way, he's young, fine. They call him Babyface, so you know he got a little baby face. He look good, got a nice body. He a dancer. So she was the eye candy just completely through her. And then I'm sure the sex blew her freaking mind to the point where now she can't see clearly to the mess that she started. And it got to the point where there were red flags along the way. The beginning of it was a red flag because she was helping him with his legal troubles and things like that. And then she got to the point where when she felt like he was leaving, she started to do things that she probably knew was wrong, but at the time, because she in her mind created a relationship. And so she felt like he was breaking up with her or he was leaving her. And so in her mind, I have to do what I have to do to get him back. And that's another error on her part. But she was, in her mind, so in love with him that she lost who she was and what she wanted to do. So she became obsessed with making him love her, controlling him with her money, which we have seen before, usually with the roles reversed, and saying, well, if you don't do this, I'm gonna do this. So she put him out the house and she took the car back, and she made it where he had nothing, so he had to come crawling back, which now she feels like she has the upper hand when she didn't at any point have the upper hand. And it was so sad to see her downfall to where she was a thick girl. She was pretty, and it got to the point where she didn't know who she used to be and how she had turned into this possessive stalker, obsessed. Like her whole character changed behind this man that she was willing to do anything to keep, to have, to control. And there was really on his, it was all one-sided. It was no feelings. There was no, it was transactional, completely transactional to him. He gave her what he thought she wanted in the bedroom, and she gave him what he needed, which was the house and the car. And he was having some trouble with child support and things like that. And it was so saddening to see how she lost everything, in a sense, because she lost herself. And it's a dangerous time when you get to the point where you lose yourself. You're no longer who you used to be because of this relationship that she created in her mind. So now she's chasing him. He has the upper hand, and she's willing to do almost anything. So in the last episode 13, season 2, episode 13, she creates this fake abuse, domestic violence, which, let me say here, domestic violence is nothing to play with. It's nothing to pretend that you're going through. And if you are going through it, it's something that I would urge you to get out of it, no matter what the situation is. I know this easier said than done, but those type of situations never end well. So her being an officer of the courts, officer of the law, she knows better. She knew better, but in this state of delusion, she couldn't think clearly. And so she created this fake scenario where she said he was hitting her. And when she began to put her hands on him and he swung back, she called the police, told the police he was beating on her, had a warrant out for him. And essentially, she started the ball rolling into a whole big old snowball effect of wrong. And she began following him. She was begging him and pleading him to come back, that she would tell them she lied. Like, it was so many things that she was doing that was outside of herself that I'm sure if she was to look in the mirror at any point, she wouldn't even recognize the person that was staring back at her. She followed him on a job. She was asking him to come back, that she would call the police. She would straighten everything out. Like, she was begging in a sense. They were outside on a balcony. In a fit of rage, she started swinging at him, and the one lick that he threw knocked her off of the balcony. It was a very unfortunate accident, but how many times have we put ourselves in this type of situation where we know better, we knew better, but we didn't do better, and then it essentially cost us something. It cost you your dignity. It cost you your self-respect. It cost you it caused you to now be insecure. It cost you. There's always a price to pay. There's always something that you have to pay the piper for, and I know that this situation, it may have been exaggerated a little bit, but it is, to me, based off of something that has happened, that is happening, because we create things that we want, this fairy tale. And again, all little girls grow up listening to Cinderella, Snow White, Tiana, that happily ever after, And sometimes we create those situations in our minds and we want them so bad that we end up living within that fairy tale. And not all the time does it turn out to be bad, but in this instant, because of the way she thought that she had the upper hand and she thought that she had control of the situation, it all turned bad. And even if he had said, when he saw that she had become to be attached, if he had ended it and just stayed away, no matter how good the money was, it could have been avoided. Whenever you have to look on the outside or to another person for happiness, for love, for affection, there's almost always going to be a negative outcome. Because had she loved herself, had she made herself happy, had she sat down and figured out the pros and cons, and I'm not just talking about this character on the TV show, I'm talking about the me, the you that I recognize in Miss Patty's character. If we sometimes just take an extra minute or 2 or 6 years and sit down and think about, what is this? What do I want? And how do I get out of this? I don't know how long the relationship between them had gone on, long enough to where Miss Patty no longer was Miss Patty. She turned into somebody completely different. But I say all this to say that when a person shows you who they are, no matter what the situation is, if it's platonic, if it's romantic, if it's friends, homegirls, mother, daughter, sister, brother, whoever the other person is, if it's not reciprocal, or they show you that they don't want the same thing you want, I urge you to end that, to walk away, to shut that down, to demand more of yourself, because that's when you have to look in and see, well, what am I missing on the inside that I am essentially creating in this person that's really not there. And like I said, the domestic violence was essentially she caused it. Yes, he's wrong, but had she not gotten so far in the beginning, then it never would have had to take a turn for the worse. So if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. When you know something is strictly transactional, you have to learn how to put your feelings and your heart in your pocket and leave them there. A lot of times we do get so wrapped up in it that we like, this is what I want it to be, and I'm going to make it be that. So hit me up below. Let me know what you think. Check out the show. It is amazing. It's more things that I want to talk about related to that show. And it's really a good, it's a good show. It's eye candy all over there. It's XX rated, but we grown, so we watch it. And I want to see more because it's packed with everything: sex, violence, death. It's got it all in there. But look at it, hit me up, let's talk about it.